What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Straight Facts. Not a podcast, not even a full crew, but it's just me and Jake here on YouTube making a video. By
What's
the
up?
way, if you're watching this somewhere else, maybe Instagram, maybe Twitter, we have a YouTube channel, Straight Facts Podcast on YouTube. Check it out. We put up video versions of the podcast. But we are here today, and we're using one of, this is how I'll describe it, Jake, one of God's gifts to the NBA community. The brilliant people at ESPN have created this tool, the NBA trade machine, and it's amazing. I mean, you could hypothetically trade your sixth man for LeBron James, hypothetically. So
The pieces fit, right?
if the pieces fit. So Jake, tell the people why we're using it today.
So this is something of a soul cleansing exercise here for us. We talked about it a couple pods ago that we would have a little breakout YouTube video where we go through some of our favorite trades for our boy Ben Simmons. Try and find a home for Ben. Try and find some closure for the Sixers fans, and hopefully we can do that today.
Yes, sir. So we both brought two trades to the table, and before we get to them, real quick, do you think the Sixers should trade Ben Simmons, and why?
They do have to trade him. Look, I could have told you, and I think I did say on this podcast, the Sixers should trade one of Joel and Ben Simmons, and I thought it should be Ben Simmons a while ago. It's not because Ben Simmons is a bad player. We've talked at length about Ben Simmons' strength, but on this team, in this town, I think we're a little too far gone. There's too much water under the bridge at this point, and truly, you could see it. Like, he needs a fresh start. He's not a bad player, but his time is up here.
Yeah, the only thing I hate about it, and I agree with you, and it's the way the offense runs. Like, you need to have a shooter when you have a big man, like, in his prime. By the way, centers have the shortest prime of any NBA position. Not that Embiid's, coming to the end of it, maybe it's still good, but you need that. But me, it's like, I'm a little on the edge just because this is the lowest Ben Simmons trade value is ever going to be. So
For
that
sure.
hurts.
Well, do you think, and this is what I've been preparing all my, all the older, my dad, all the people who listen to the radio, and they're all, they're going to trade Ben Simmons immediately. Daryl Morey is too smart for that.
Yeah.
He's not going to go for that. What will likely happen is either they're going to trade him on draft night, which we will talk about, potentially trade him on draft night, or if they don't get the value they're looking for, they'll hold him because he's a great regular season player. In fact, maybe give Joel some rest. Hey, Joel, rest up. We're going to let Ben run. We're going to get him his 20, 10, and 10, and then we're going to trade him for at the top of his market value when a star comes along.
Which is smart.
Let's go over to one of your trades now. What's your favorite trade?
All right, well, we're going to start with one that we've heard about that I think the Sixers, well, I'll say it first. So it would be Ben Simmons for Brogdon and that first-round pick. And I think we should take this deal. You made a great point before the show when we were talking about this, that the Sixers turned it down for now. And I think this could be, something you want to hold on to. And you throw in the right guys. I think you have to throw in like Edmund Sumner to make the money happen, which I think the Pacers would be fine giving up. We'll probably never use Edmund Sumner, but that's how trades go. But I like this. Brogdon's a great fit for the Sixers. He does exactly what you need him to do. It changes the offense. He's a great defensive player. A lot of these trades, you're going to lose that Philadelphia defense. Brogdon, no, you're going to keep it. So, I think this makes sense. What do you think? Do you think that we are holding on to this trade or that we simply need more out of this deal?
I think that this is a back pocket. This could be like worst case scenario. This is close, not worst case scenario, but in terms of like selling Ben low, this is kind of what it looks like. Here's what I worry about with Malcolm Brogdon because I really, really do like him as a player. He is a solid guard. But look at Drew. You could say the same exact thing for Drew Holiday.
Yeah.
And look what happens. He is a very similar player to Drew Holiday. And in the playoffs, you really have to have a deep bag. And you know a guy who I would almost prefer, I don't know what the money looks like, but I would almost rather take Karis LeVert in this deal.
Really?
I think that Brogdon is the better player. But when you talk about a bucket getter, who's a guy who can go get his own in the playoffs, that guy to me, Karis LeVert is more that guy than Malcolm Brogdon is at this point. But I'd probably do the deal if you can't get anything else. If everyone's like, look, we don't want anything to do with that guy.
And obviously I love Karis LeVert. We've talked about that on the podcast. And you're right there. But Brogdon's still put in like an efficient 21 a night this year. With Sabonis, he can play with that big man like Embiid, who's better than Sabonis, and shooters around him. He 6 assists a game, I think, this year. Like, he's really molding into a very solid, probably future all-star. So I think Malcolm Brogdon's not a bad deal, but as you said, this might be a last case scenario thing, but I don't hate it. I really don't hate it.
I don't hate it either. And the only thing I wonder is, does it make sense on the Pacers side? Obviously, this is like a legitimate deal that was reported, but you think about their front court with Warren, who's been on the outs for a couple years there, but you also have Sabonis, who theoretically would play that 4 spot, and you have Goga Bitadze, who is a good up-and-coming player for them as well. So that's the only thing that I think about. I will say, for the sake of just sticking it to Ben Simmons, I want him to go to Indiana so badly. Oh, you want to be in LA, buddy? Oh, here, you want to be at Wimbledon? Here, I got something for you. How about you go play in the cornfields of Indiana? Have fun out there, bud. You didn't want Philadelphia. Good on you.
All right. Well, we're 2 trades in. Sorry for the cut. Jake had to use the bathroom. Happens, you know. So
nature calls.
I would call those pretty realistic looking trades. You know, maybe not best case scenario, but stuff we just talked about it. We like it for certain reasons. Now we're gonna have some fun. I think mine's a little more crazier than yours. Yours is a little crazy though, but we'll start with yours for the 3rd trade scenario using ESPN's amazing trade machine.
Yeah. So we have Ben Simmons again. Well, actually, technically, this isn't all by his lonesome. It's Ben Simmons and a first-round pick. But in terms of players, just Ben Simmons heading over to the Chicago Bulls for Al-Farouq Aminu, and you guessed it, one Mr. Zach LaVine. This is a move, Kyle.
Crazy.
If I could, aside from getting Dame Lillard, the next guy that realistically, like I don't think Beal's realistically moving.
Yeah.
The next guy I would want is Zach LaVine. This is a guy who has all the reason in the world to. In terms of Chicago, be moved. If you're not going to re-sign him, which I don't know why they wouldn't have already, you're going to look to get value for him. I think Ben Simmons and a first-round pick, I really have, this is where it gets like kind of in the weeds, because I really don't know. Is a first-round pick and Ben Simmons enough? Is it too much? But in terms of fit, I love Zach LaVine on the Sixers.
Undoubtedly. And you said what I was going to say. This makes sense for the Bulls, I think, if they know Zach LaVine's not coming back. We've heard the New York rumors, only a year left on his deal. If we could pull off a sign and trade, like lock him in Philly, which I feel like is a place he'd want to go to, I hope, that would be sick. So thinking about it now, it's not as crazy as I thought with given his whole contract scenario, but you said it, perfect fit. Zach LaVine is someone that has upped his numbers every year. I think we did an episode about it a couple of months back, and we looked at the stats because that's what we do here. Upped his numbers every year, clearly on the same trajectory to continue doing so. So screw it. I mean, if we can get this, I think this is best case scenario.
And where does he rank in your, like, gotta get a bucket go-to guys last possession of the game? He's got to be, I don't know if he's top 5, but he's pretty close.
I can't put him top 5.
You got like Steph, Dame, KD, top 3 lockup, right?
Yeah, I want Harden taking a shot, undoubtedly. Maybe even Kyrie. Shit, the Nets might have 3 of them. But in their scenarios, it doesn't make sense that you can have 3 of them. You know how I feel about Donovan Mitchell, not top 5, but he's in that top 10.
He's up there, though, right? He's like all with those guys. If you said any of those names, Zach LaVine, Harden, all those guys are kind of...
I would float him around 10, around that area, in the same breath as Donovan Mitchell, maybe a little higher. So yeah, and the Sixers clearly need a guy to go to down the stretch. Denver's figured it out with Jokic. He's hit a lot of shots, but it's tough to do it from the big man position. And we've seen how lost the Sixers can look in the last 20 seconds. They just give the ball to Embiid at the 3-point line and say, go, do something. And I don't think that's a very effective way to win games. Embiid is great, but you need one possession from it. It's tough.
And I think LaVine would mesh well with Tobias Harris as well as Embiid. The high
Curry.
Pick and rolls. Yeah, the stuff they get off of it, Seth Curry. The only thing I worry, you take Ben Simmons out of the lineup and you replace him for Zach LaVine, it might have a problem with facilitation now and ball handling. Like, I guess LaVine is okay, but...
Hey, we drafted Tyrese Maxey as a first-round point guard.
Maxey might slide in as that.
You see,
if you can play LaVine at the 3,
yeah.
If you could play LaVine at the 3, it's a small lineup, but that would be a very well.
I think, and this is the tough thing to think about the trade. It's like, oh, how much are we losing on defense here? Do we still have a primary ball handler? Because Ben Simmons undoubtedly gives you those things at a high level. So, yeah. But talking about that, actually, we're gonna move on to honestly the greatest trade.
This is the one here.
the greatest trade that has ever been constructed by yours truly. It's a 3-team trade, and we talked about a guy named Dame Lillard. He plays for the Portland Trailblazers, but he's not a part of it. So we're going to flash it. You can see it on the screen right now. I'm going to go through what each team is giving up. It's the Sixers, the Hornets, and the Trailblazers. I'll basically break it down team by team what their deal looks like. So for the Sixers, they get rid of Ben Simmons, yes, and they get a bag from Charlotte. They get Terry Rozier, who is an amazing player, if you guys didn't know, which a lot of people don't know. Miles Bridges, who is a young talent, fit right in with the Sixers. And you get Vernon Carey, who is, it makes the money work. But Vernon Carey is a young center who I don't think is going to be a great player, but has shown flashes he could be a great player. Just for Ben Simmons, you fill a lot of positions on your team. The Hornets, of course, give up those 3 players and a first-round pick to Portland. And they get CJ McCollum. And it's crazy. It's crazy, but it is a huge haul for CJ McCollum. Obviously, LaMelo Ball is the future there. You want to play him at point guard. Devontae Graham seems to be done. He's not who we thought he was 2 years ago. Terry Rozier is a true point guard who they've been, faking as a shooting guard, and it's worked. But if you can build now with LaMelo Ball, CJ McCollum, and Gordon Hayward, who knows what happens? And you keep PJ Washington. You don't lose, him and Bridges kind of fill the same void. You keep PJ Washington. So, and then, of course, Portland gets Ben Simmons and that first-round pick from the Hornets. For CJ McCollum, for me, this is like, this summer, Dame does not run from the grind, but they still need to change something up. And I think you can, the Trailblazers are one team where you can take on Ben Simmons and play the same way. They have a lot of shooters there, right? And we're kind of saying that, Ben Simmons isn't necessarily a point guard. He's shown he doesn't have to be. So him and Dame now, you still have the shooters around. That team could, be fun.
Right, so what's their lineup now look like with this trade? Goes Dame,
Norman Powell
there, and you
have Covington.
This is where it gets a little icky
Covington,
for me,
Simmons,
for
Nurkic.
them.
Yeah,
that's a little bit of a front court because my problem with Ben Simmons is he's got to go to a team that has a center that is almost like a Brook Lopez clone. You need to look at how the Bucks built around Giannis, and that's kind of the build you need for Ben, in my opinion, for him to be his peak player, the peak player he can be. The only thing I'll say about this trade, I don't mind the pieces coming back. I like Bridges; he's exciting. Rozier, I think, is criminally underrated, as we've talked about. I think the Trailblazers are getting a little bit too much. What I would do to even it out is send either a Blazers first, or this would be a bigger swing, but send the 22 first-round pick over to the Sixers as well.
Really?
Yeah, I just don't know CJ McCollum's true value. I got to be honest with you. I'm going to be real
I think that team values him a lot.
I would rather, money included, I would rather have Seth Curry on my team than CJ McCollum.
Wow.
It's really not that close.
To me,
it's really
the crazy take.
So CJ McCollum makes $29 million compared to, if I give it a quick Google here, Seth Curry's contract, 4 divided by 32. So what is that? $8 million a year. Seth Curry's making $8 million. He's making $21 less million than CJ.
Fair. When you think about the money,
more efficiently.
Fair. But score less and less shots. I mean, CJ, there's something to say about that.
Right, you can't give the ball to you shouldn't give the ball to Seth Curry and say, "All right, do whatever you want. You got to get us a bucket." It's what the Sixers did this postseason,
and it kind of worked. Yeah,
I think so. You shouldn't be doing that.
I do want to put a distinction on that pick. It is the 2022 first-round pick. The Hornets, of course, draft 11th this year, so they're going to keep that pick, obviously. I do want to do that, but I think, and you say is that too much for CJ McCollum? Well, my man Hollinger, I don't know who Hollinger is.
John Hollinger.
But he thinks the Portland Trailblazers would lose 7 wins in this scenario, which I don't agree with. I don't think that trading Ben Simmons, I don't think CJ McCollum gets you 7 wins, but you get Ben Simmons back. But I just think there's something there that it's not crazy value Ben Simmons, CJ straight up. I think the first round pick is a kicker for the Trailblazers to do this. This is a big shakeup for the Trailblazers. This has been the same team for a while. It's clearly not working. They need to do something, but they don't want to break up that Lillard or McCollum, it seems like. So this could be a little kicker. I think it makes sense all around. I actually think every team gets better, which is awesome.
So, and I agree, it's very hard to do when you do a big trade like that to really even it out. I think he did a good job of it here. Maybe negligible first-round pick one way or the other, but
yeah.
So what we can cap it off with is if first off, we said should the Sixers trade Ben Simmons, right? Now I want to know, in your heart of hearts, will they trade Ben Simmons?
No.
Wow.
I don't think they will. I think now you put out that scenario where you keep him and, he has a good regular season, you get him trade at the deadline. I think that is very possible. This offseason, I don't see it. Daryl Morey has no intention of trading him. Doc Rivers says this is our guy. Seth Curry says this is our guy. I get it. That's your teammate. That's your player as a coach. That is your player as a GM. You say those things. But I truly believe, Daryl Morey, whatever this means, just bought a Ben Simmons NFT. Are you going to go trade him? That's nefarious. I just bought your highest paying worth, but I'm also getting rid of you. But I have this on you. So I don't think that we're going to trade him.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I would be literally shocked of all shock. As shocked as I am that he's still the same player after 5 years, I would be equally as shocked if he is still on this roster when the trade deadline passes by midseason next season. I would be shocked.
Well, we can cap it at that. That is it for today's video. This is fun, Jake. Got to do more of these, actually.
Yeah, it's nice and easy.
But as I said, Straight Facts Podcast on YouTube if you're not watching it here. I want to see in the comment section down below, do you like our trades? And if not, go use this amazing tool. Go on the trade machine and tweet at us your trade scenarios for Ben Simmons. That is it for today, though. I hope everyone is staying safe, staying healthy, and, of course, getting buckets.